I say either give it back or shut the fuck up. AOC says so many people in this country hate women. Oh, geez. Even the guy at the party who pulls out a guitar is like, way to ruin the fun. Congressman Jamal Bowman says capitalism is slavery by another name. No, it's not. It's the thing that has given more people more prosperity and hope than any other system, flawed though it surely is. Say something about America that you like, because honestly, I don't know why the people who are fighting for this country so hard even want it anymore.
It is impossible to ignore Bill Maher's scathing criticism of AOC for what he perceives to be egregious double standards. The outspoken comic didn't hold back when criticizing one of the Democratic Party's most prominent emerging stars for depicting America as a disaster zone whenever Republicans are in power. According to her narrative, the instant political power changes, the nation abruptly devolves into a hopeless shambles. However, Maher's adamant opposition revealed what he believes to be the ridiculousness of that story. This is precisely the type of conflict that attracts attention if you want sharp political criticism.
A more pertinent question to ask about the word woke might be, why in such a short time has it gone from a rallying cry to a pejorative? If the word only made you think of rational, deserved causes like teaching a less whitewashed version of American history, AOC would still want to own it. But it's a joke, because it makes you think of people who wake up offended and take orders from Twitter, and their oversensitivity has grown tiresome. That said,
Maher also criticizes AOC's prior commitment to woke politics, contending that the term has evolved into little more than a rebranded version of an outdated liberal ideology that no longer appeals to regular voters. According to him, the term's retreat is deliberate rather than accidental. He contends that leaders like AOC are abandoning the language because the branding is no longer appealing rather than because their views have evolved. She accepted the movement's spirit, slogans, and symbols without hesitation not too long ago. The presentation has changed as the label now has political connotations. Maher's argument is that this appears to be more about political survival than personal development.
That said, I would love to have AOC on this show. There's so much to admire there. I was one of her first supporters for the Green New Deal idea. But that will probably never happen because Democrats don't go anywhere these days where they're not pre-adored. And that's my last bit of advice to them. Go where the amen corner isn't. Do Fox News. Be brave. Come here. Go everywhere. Winning is about expanding the electorate.
Few people think AOC would accept an invitation to appear on Maher's show, despite reports that she has received one. Maher is not the type of host who sticks to soft questions or lets guests hide behind polished talking points, according to detractors, and the reason is clear. He applies intense pressure, which quickly reveals vulnerabilities. People may still recall times when AOC appeared uneasy outside of a strictly controlled environment, particularly when she was asked questions for which she didn't seem to be entirely prepared. For this reason, many people think she stays away from situations when the conversation is uncontrollable. The screenplay wouldn't belong to Maher on her stage, which could be the exact issue.
And finally, new rule, you don't really love America if you hate half the people in it. And also if you hate a lot of the things that everybody always loved about it. There's an oft-repeated moment in political debates where the moderator says to the two candidates, say something nice about your opponent.
Can you say one nice thing, something that you admire about your opponent?
And say something nice about Representative Deal.
Tell us something that you admire about your opponent.
Can you say something nice about your opponent?
It's always so awkward because the candidates just spent an hour describing how America would be an out-of-control dumpster fire if the other guy won the election.
Maher contends that for some on the left, such as AOC, the actual problem isn't America per se, but rather who is in charge of it. He claims that anytime political rivals seize control, the nation is abruptly portrayed as cruel, fractured, and irreparable. This pattern, he claims, indicates something more profound than policy disagreement. The moment their side loses control, the reaction turns into unrelenting indignation rather than constructive critique or workable alternatives. Maher believes that almost every move made by the opposition administration is evidence that the country is failing. He claims that after that, the discussion shifts from being about governing to being about advancing a sinister political narrative.
I say the next time we have debates, the moderator needs to frame that question a little differently, as say something about America that you like, because honestly, I don't know why the people who are fighting for this country so hard even want it anymore. Republicans, I'll start with you. I really want to know. That is what's so odd about this time that we're living in. For all the talk about fighting for the soul of America, nobody seems to like it very much. Too many liberals give the impression that to them, America is just a big, ugh. The red, white, and ew.
One of Maher's main points is that, depending on who is in the White House, many progressives appear to evaluate America by completely different criteria. The outlook improves and the tone softens when Democrats have power. However, the nation is suddenly characterized as morally bankrupt and on the verge of collapse when someone like Donald Trump assumes power. Maher views that as a more significant symptom of contemporary politics when facts and consistency are frequently subordinated to party loyalty and emotional response. Political discourse ceases to be about the truth and becomes a struggle between opposing narratives when perception takes precedence over reality.
A country that started out bad and will always be bad, founded on an unrelenting history of sucking and unable to change. But we have changed a lot. Democrat Cori Bush tweeted, "This land is stolen land and black people still aren't free." And this was on the 4th of July. Really? Not that I give a shit about the 4th of July. I've never been a rah-rah guy. But I am a perspective guy. And that's what too much of the left has lost, perspective.
According to Maher, some left-wing activists are so enmeshed in their grievances that they find it difficult to see any advancements that don't align with their worldview. With such kind of thinking, criticism ceases to be a tool for growth and instead becomes an integral part of one's personality. Everything needs to be mediated via moral posturing, rage, and disappointment. He cautions that when indignation becomes automatic, fairness and nuance vanish and even real progress is disregarded. At that point, maintaining a worldview based on enduring discontent appears to take precedence over improving the nation.
72% of black people under 30 are optimistic about their future in America. Way more than white people the same age. And as far as the land goes, yes, I guess we could change the name of Captain America to Captain Stolen Land. But honestly, to all the people who start every public event now with one of those land acknowledgments where they say, "I'm standing on land that was stolen from the proud indigenous people of the Chumash tribe," I say either give it back or shut the fuck up.
Maher vigorously challenges the notion that black Americans in the United States today have no future. Although he concedes that there are still significant issues, he maintains that the nation has come a long way since the civil rights movement and the decades that followed. Opportunities in business, politics, education, and culture have grown in ways that were unimaginable just a few generations ago. Maher worries that certain voices obscure important progress by concentrating solely on injustice and hardship. Denying that progress empowers people, in his opinion, warps reality and undermines the argument for more progress.
AOC says so many people in this country hate women. Oh, geez. Even the guy at the party who pulls out a guitar is like, way to ruin the fun. Congressman Jamal Bowman says capitalism is slavery by another name. No, it's not. It's the thing that has given more people more prosperity and hope than any other system, flawed though it surely is.
When the subject of socialism comes up, Maher is just as direct. Despite the long history of failure associated with self-described socialist systems, he finds it perplexing that some Democrats continue to romanticize socialism. Even when supporters attempt to place the blame elsewhere, he highlights the economic suffering, repression, and dysfunction that have frequently accompanied those attempts. However, he acknowledges that contemporary economies are rarely perfect instances of either capitalism or socialism. The majority of nations use a combination of market forces and government intervention. For this reason, Maher believes that the more intelligent debate is about which policies genuinely result in freedom, stability, and a better living rather than about ideological labels. Maher also emphasizes a point that many Americans' detractors easily overlook. Millions of people worldwide continue to view the US as a country with a wealth of opportunities. Because they think this place offers mobility, safety, and a future worth striving for, people risk everything to come here. That does not imply that the nation is perfect, and Maher does not assert that it is.
Something like the free market is kind of synonymous with America. And if you don't like it, I don't know how you can say you love this country. You know who loves this country? You know who's not constantly complaining about what happened 200 years ago and who's not obsessed with seeing America through shit-colored glasses and shaking off the stench of what irredeemable, privileged assholes we are? Immigrants.
However, he contends that focusing solely on America's shortcomings obscures the same characteristics that continue to draw aspirants, laborers, and families from all over the world. His message is straightforward: criticism devoid of context turns into distortion. Maher draws attention to what may be the largest contradiction. Even though AOC and her supporters frequently claim that America is essentially flawed, they continue to actively work to guide and transform the country.
Ask any of them why they came here, and they will tell you the same thing. Ron DeSantis put me on a plane. But they will also tell you that America, for all that's so shitty about it right now, is still the last best hope. And those people asking for our votes to take it over should remember.
He asks, why work so hard to take control of the country if it's really that rotten? That tension, in Maher's opinion, calls into doubt credibility, message, and motivation. Persuasion, respect, and the capacity to bring people together are necessary for true leadership. It is not enough to condemn half of the nation while claiming control over it all. People begin to question if the goal is true reform or just power disguised as principle when political discourse becomes excessively polarizing.